So I would like to now call to the stage our keynote speaker. Thanks to the generosity of the University of Maryland Asian American Studies program, we were able to bring her to the conference. Representative Luz Bay serves in the New Hampshire State House of Representatives. She's from Strafford County, District 21. She is a scientist, a mother, and a Filipina. Please welcome Representative Luz Bay.
Magandang gabi po. Have you ever been in a place or a situation where as soon as you get there, you immediately feel like you don't belong? Like I do right now. I mean, we have Elaine Quijano here and I'm the keynote speaker. Mind blown. My imposter syndrome is kicking in. Feeling like I don't belong is not unfamiliar to me. I was born in the Philippines and grew up the seventh of 14 children. I was the dark-skinned child in a family of mostly fair-skinned people in a country shaped by centuries of colonialism. When I was 13, I was fished out of water when I went to the Philippine Science High School main campus from my elementary school in the province. Later in life, I have finished 18 marathons, including the Abbott World Marathon Majors. And yet, every start line, I look around thinking, hey, maybe I don't belong here. So for years, I chalked that discomfort up to growth. You know, you step out of your comfort zone, you grow. But last year, I was told so overtly that I did not belong. It was in the House of Representatives chamber in the state of New Hampshire. So last year, I made a unanimous consent speech on the floor of the New Hampshire House of Representatives to commemorate Philippine Independence Day. I spoke about our home country's tumultuous path to independence. I also spoke about the historical relationship of the Philippines and the United States. I reminded my colleagues in the House that it is our responsibility as legislatures to acknowledge and uplift the contributions of immigrant communities in our state. That recognizing Philippine Independence Day is not just about honoring history. It is also about reaffirming our commitment to democracy, justice, and inclusion. These are principles shared by both the United States and the Philippines. I urge them to stand in solidarity with Filipino-American community, celebrating their contributions, learning from their history, and ensuring that our policies continue to reflect the dignity and inclusion of all who seek independence, opportunity, and justice. Based on the applause and the standing ovation, it was well received. It was also unanimous consent, which means that had anyone had any objections with what I was saying, they could have stopped me. Should that happen, the speaker would have asked me to suspend There would be a motion and a vote, and I would only be able to continue if 2/3 of those present voted for me to continue. But there was no objection. Also, it was so well received that there was a motion to put the entirety of my speech in the permanent journal. So, that speech is actually now part of the recorded history of the state of New Hampshire. Now, what happened after I made that speech? So, on our way out of the State House, a fellow representative, let's call him Dan, because that's his name. So Dan approached me and asked me a question in a very accusatory way. He said, "In your speech, you called the Philippines your home country." I'm like, "Yes, I did." Then he asked, "Then how were you allowed to serve in the House?" I was taken aback by both the question and his 6-foot frame hovering over me. So I responded, "Well, I'm a naturalized citizen, and that's how I'm able to serve." And then he said, "Then the Philippines is not your home country." So, like tomato, tomato. And so I said, "You interpret it that way, I interpret it this way." And he seemed stunned, and he walked away. And by the way, this whole conversation, while he was accusing me in a very thick British accent. So I was like, "What? You think your accent is superior to mine?" So to give you a little context, so when I learned that he had told another representative to go home on account that that representative's mother is Guatemalan, I realized that it wasn't an isolated moment. It was a pattern of behavior. I, of course, brought this up with my leadership. I was advised by the House leadership to address the incident in one of two ways, if I address it at all. Number one, file an ethics violation complaint. Or number two, file a harassment complaint. But see, think about it this way. Had I filed a complaint, had I filed that paperwork, I'm pretty sure it would have gone as far as somebody's desk drawer, never to see the light of day. So instead, I went back to the House floor to stake my claim. On the House floor, I declared, some of you might have heard this already, "I am here because I belong here." My constituents elected me under the same laws with the same legitimacy as anyone in this room. My birthplace does not make me less American. My accent does not disqualify me from public service. And my identity as a Filipino American does not make me a guest. I am a citizen, I'm a public servant, and I am home. And some of you know, that speech actually went viral. About 2 million views across social media platforms. And some of you actually first learned about me then. So when I was asked to be the keynote speaker, it was clear that it was because of that speech. So here I am to tell you the rest of the story. There was this recent sensational story in New Hampshire about a member of the legislature who was censured for referencing final solution toward a towards a Jewish member. And also for calling on the federal administration to deport a sitting state representative. When the story broke about the final solution, that's actually when I found out that while I was speaking in the House chamber the week before, while debating a bill, which actually is my constitutional duty, another state representative, let's call him Travis, because that's his name, Travis was live tweeting. The tweet starts with a short description of the bill that was being debated. Then he goes, "Some Dem is speaking against it," followed with, "Hard to follow through the thick foreign accent," with an expletive emoji. And then a call on the federal administration to deport me, explicitly using Stephen Miller's X handle. Well, so there were procedures. It took weeks. It took weeks before Travis was censured. And guess what happened? On the next session, I was once again debating another bill, and again, Travis was live tweeting. Same MO. What the bill is about, some Dem speaking against it, he can't follow through the thick foreign accent, and a call to Stephen Miller. So, I don't know, are they just making judgment on who is American enough? What's their end game? Are they trying to bully me out of the State House and out of public service? Well, good luck with that. I happen to be the kind of person who doesn't easily give up. I survived breast cancer 3 times, for crying out loud. I lined up at 18 marathons and finished each one when I ran when I can, walking when I had to, and I would have crawled if I must. So, how did I respond to the bullies? I let them know in a big way that I'm not going away. As a matter of fact, I'm stepping up and I'm taking up more space by running for a much higher office in our state's government. I'm running for a seat in one of the most powerful bodies in the state of New Hampshire's government. It's a 5-member executive council. So let me explain to you what the executive council is. By design, the executive branch of New Hampshire has a weak governorship. The only thing that the governor can do without the approval of the council is sign bills into law and veto bills. The council has to approve all state contracts that's at least $10,000. The executive council has to approve all Supreme Court nominees. It also has to approve all commissioners, like Commissioner of Education, Commissioner of Transportation. It also has the constitutional responsibility for our state's 10-year infrastructure plan. And, this is very important, it approves all disbursements for all government services. So you can see it is a very powerful position. Now, the Executive Council of New Hampshire is actually a 346-year-old institution. It was formed by King Charles II in 1679 as a check and balance to the colonial governor. Now, to give you an idea of the time period, if you guys are familiar with the musical Hamilton, this was before Hamilton. So that's how old the institution is. In its current form, it's 240 years old, and it's still an oversight to the governor. Now, let me tell you, in all those years, there has only been 7 women elected to the council. This was so recent. This was in the 1970s when the first woman was elected. It's so recent, she's actually still alive. And also, in all those years, there has not been a person of color seated in the council. I intend to be the first. I intend to be the first because I belong there. I belong there because I believe that as a public servant, I have one job, and that job is to uplift the life of every hardworking Granite Stater. Now, it's not lost on me that my being an elected official in the state of New Hampshire carries a lot of weight. It signals to those with the same color as mine that they have a seat at the table, that their interest is represented in the halls of power. But more important than representation is impact. I want young people to see me and think, if she can get there, I can get there too. Not by following my exact path, but by knowing that the path exists. So, here's my challenge to you today. Number 1, claim your belonging. Don't wait for someone else to open the door. Walk through it. Don't wait for someone else to hand you a seat. Pull up a chair. Because if you want to do something that's important, just do it. Number 2, extend belonging to others. Remember that there's always someone in the room who feels invisible. Someone who is who's asking themselves, do I belong here? You can be the person who answers that question with a smile, a word, an invitation. I got started in public service because I showed up at an event where I was made to feel welcome. It was also a pub night. Number 3, let's redefine belonging. Belonging is not about sameness. It's about wholeness. It's about creating spaces where we don't have to all look alike, think alike, or live alike to matter. For a good cause, work with anyone in a we're all in this together kind of way. So, the next time you find yourself in a place where you wonder if you belong, remember this. The question is not, do I belong here? The question is, am I brave enough to belong anyway? Because the answer every time is yes. Maraming salamat po at magandang gabi sa inyong lahat.
Thank you so much, Representative Bay, for those powerful words and for your continued public service. Well, tonight,